welcome to the Tangi Migration Management Center of the Gambia Immigration Department here in Tangi. We're here to engage media houses on the recent activities of the department when it comes to migration interceptions from the month of October to November 3rd. This briefing, it's a consolidation of the operations that we have had over the past month, which also includes the investigation, smuggling cases, and also few engagements where we had to repatriate some migrants to various countries. Now, the operations were conducted by the GID's Migration Management Unit through its efforts with the Border Patrol Unit, and then partners that we've also been working with over the course of this year. Operations come in different forms, in different locations, and also with different varieties. In this briefing, I will briefly give you an insight of each of these particular cases and then give you an overall number of how much we were able to intercept from the course of January down to November. Our first migration case that we had intercepted occurred in Bara on the 2nd of October 2025. The North Bank Border Patrol Unit intercepted 39 would-be migrants, which includes 34 Gambians and 5 Senegalese, including 4 female and 1 pregnant woman. The migrants that were intercepted were preparing to move to Mboletba to be transported to Bara, and later they came back to Tangi. This migration route was disrupted by the Border Patrol Unit of North Bank region, and then the migrants were transported back to Tangi here at the base. We had, in our findings, we've also been able to find out that the witnesses were not opportune to be seen by most of these migrants because payments were mostly sent by their family members abroad. And this also includes a woman who was 8 months pregnant with 2 weeks pregnancy. So we also had a similar case in Bara, which occurred on the 6th of October 2025 at the Bara Ferry Terminal. In this case, we had 6 migrants that were intercepted, and this included 5 Senegalese and 1 Gambian. They've been moving to the Gambia in an effort to also join a migration route that was being organized. The migrants had confessed that they were instructed to meet a contact in the Gambia where they will be given their boarding to a particular boat for movements. The GID had also had a vehicle interception done by the Tangi, Gunjur, and Katong immigration stations, their border patrol units, and this vehicle was engaged in smuggling fuel that is to be used for migration routes. Now, in a vehicle number plate BJL8045X with fuel, we had items of 52 gallons of 30 liters fuel that was captured there. We also had the 40 of 20 liters gallon that was also captured, and the 26 of 60 liter gallon. And then we also have 200 liter barrels that were also intercepted by the officers. We've also been informed that the suspect in this case, which is Wuye Sane and Sheikh Aydara, were paid an amount of 40,000 onwards by the migrants that were involved in this particular case. Now, this was a disruption case as the migrants were not met up with a vehicle, but they contained items that are being used for this particular routine that we had to intercept along the way. We also had in our findings on the 7th of October 2025 that 34 migrants were also intercepted by the PIU and the police general duty officers. And these migrants were later handed over to the GID for necessary investigation and processing. Now, these migrants were recruited by a man called Paul, Musa, and also Bubakar, suspected organizers. And the boat departed from Chare in Senegal and then came into the Gambia for a transit purpose. The Navy had also intervened. And then after this, we realized that 300 migrants were supposed to be in this particular boat to move into the Gambia and then transit to the Canary Islands. Further interceptions also occurred on the 10th of October 2025 in Joswang, where we had 5 migrants. You might be seeing the numbers in bits and pieces because we are now more focused on prevention than stopping them at the latter part. So our engagement focus is more and trying to disrupt their activities as they're trying to gather into one place. And that is why the numbers will come in bits and pieces. Unlike before where we would have them all at a particular place and we had to intercept them. So now we want to focus more on preventive mechanisms to avoid them being together and expose us to other activities within the Gambia. So on October 10th, migrants were returning home after a failed attempt, but then no payments were made, and then they were intercepted by the immigration officers in Joswang as well. We had another case on the 13th of October 2025 in Mahmuda, where 7 migrants plus 1 Pakistani national were also intercepted. These migrants were recruited by a man called Matar, and each of them paid about 55,000 CFA. The Pakistani national was also confirmed to be a legitimate businessman in the Gambia, but then also wanted to use the irregular migration route as a mechanism to travel out of the country. In similar cases, we had an interception in Tangier on the 19th of October 2025. In this case, migrants were recruited in Senegal and payments were made via Wave to a man called Bamba, who is an agent currently staying in Spain, not in the Gambia here. Now, the organizers Bamba and Baifal were revealed by the migrants during our investigations, and then they were all at large as we speak, as Bamba currently stays in Spain, not within the Gambia. Following that case, we also had a different case that took place in Batokunku, where we had 25 migrants that were intercepted. Now, this occurred on the 20th of October 2025. The suspects in this case included Wei Sane, who was involved, and then engines of 60 horsepower and 40 horsepower were also intercepted in this particular case, and the fuels were seized, currently with us at the center here in Tangier. In a similar case, the same Batokunku, we had a different case on the same very day, 20th of October 2025. And in this case, Wei was arrested, items were seized, including the engine, the pumping machine, the fuel, the motorbikes were all intercepted during the course of this particular engagement. And after the investigation, they've been recommended for prosecution efforts to be able to deter such practices within the Gambia. Now, on the 22nd of October 2025, we have a case that was a bit different. These are not migrants that were intercepted, but then they are returnees from Nigeria. We had initially sent a release on this part, where we had our officers travel all the way to Mauritania in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the SIS were also involved. They had to travel all the way to Mauritania and bring about 40 migrants that were stranded in Mauritania. Accounts from these migrants had also revealed that they had undergone serious human rights violations and also suppressions by the authorities in Mauritania. On a good note, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through its embassy in Mauritania, was able to engage swiftly and arrange for them to be returned back to the Gambia, which our officers, Commandant Sedikan to here, together with officers from Foreign Affairs, were able to travel down to Mauritania in the Rosa border and transport those migrants back to the country. In that case, we realized that the boat that transported them to Mauritania left the Gambia with an amount of 190 to 200 migrants. But then at our level, we were only able to return 40 migrants in this case, as the other ones left before the team was able to reach Mauritania. On a separate interception case where we had 47 Guineans at Madiana Salaji, it occurred on the 22nd of October 2025. The suspect identified in this case included Mamadou Seka, who was the one harboring the migrants in a compound. We also had a Senegalese-based organizer, Pape Aliou Mustafa, and also Fode, who are also suspected as organizers of this particular case, and this case took place in Salaji, where they've been harbored. Separately, we also had another case in Bara, which occurred on the 26th of October 2025, where 28 migrants were also intercepted by the NBR Border Patrol Unit. Now, these individuals were intercepted during the course of our routine checks, where we have our officers going around to check coastal belts and areas where we may have susceptible people to be engaged into migration route. They were suspected to have departed from a village called Jinak in the North Bank region, and the migrants were taken to Tangi for further investigations. On the 25th of October 2025, we had also 34 migrants plus a boat and an engine intercepted at a village called Kubune on the 25th of October 2025. Now, the boat, engine, and the 200 gallons of fuel were all recovered, and the agent who was found in this particular case is Mr. Cherno Usman Sow, who is currently at large as we report this particular case. A similar case occurred in Bara, where we had 30 migrants were intercepted on the 25th of October 2025, same day with that of Kubune. In this case, again, we had two organizers, Modunjai and also Ismaila, were found to be in this case. And they have collected payments from migrants in various ways. Some of them paid through CFA, others paid in Gambian dollars. Reason being why we have difference in currencies because most migrants come in different countries. Some of them are from Senegal, others will be from the Gambia, some are from Guinea. And these countries have different currency notes. So as a result, migrants would pay in different notes based on the countries where they reside. And then Bara also had a different case the following day on the 26th of October 2025, where we had 29 migrants that were intercepted. And the suspected agents in this particular case includes Mr. Yoro, Abdullah, and also Musa. In this interception, food items were also recovered. And then there had been some claims that have been alleged by the migrants that were some officers that were involved in this particular case. We would want to disclose which particular unit was this, but then there had been allegations made that they had conspired with few people that engaged in this particular act. So as we speak, we're also making efforts to engage with those people and see how we can mitigate some of those practices. We also had another smuggling case where we have arrested a man called Adam Khan on the 1st of November 2025. Now, Adam Khan, together with Ali Job, was suspected to have prepared for a boat departure in a village called Sami. Payments were also made in CFA and Gambian dollars. And this case, they were supposed to have about 240 migrants to be departed from the Gambia to the Canary Islands in this particular case. Moving forward, we have another major interception that took place on the 2nd of November 2025, where we have 82 migrants in Batakunku again. And the suspects in this case included a man called Abdi Juft and also Mr. Ibrahim Anjay. This particular case came in various formats because we have been receiving many migrants over the past months. But then with this particular case, we have seen them prepared with their radio sets to be able to facilitate communications while they are moving.